Bitcoin printing some of its highest volume levels in months as the drop to 34,000 followed by a moon bounce to 39,000 ensued. Are the baby bulls finished soiling their trousers and Moon Mission 2022 can begin? Or is the war in Ukraine going to get even worse for Bitcoin, the markets, and the world? I'm your host, Larry Long the Bottom, and just like Bitcoin, I've been spending the morning pumping, dumping, and everything in between. Absolutely time sensitive alerts as well. If you guys are saying bonuses, deals, trading, getting altcoins, securing your crypto, staking to earn rewards, make sure to check out all the links below. And as well, one Twitter and one Instagram. Those are the only two. I have one Instagram and one Twitter. I do not have two Twitters. I don't have two Instagrams. If you get a message from me, it's going to be fake. It's a scammer. I'm not going to reach out. And so yeah, don't fall victim. I had like a couple people ask again yesterday, even though I say this in every single video. No, I'm not going to message you. I only have one Twitter and only one Instagram. I'm ready for the review. It's a bit big. So with the markets very clearly affected by the conflict in Ukraine, there's a lot that's going to be happening and dictating these markets. However, we saw something some people would consider unusual, which is it moved down to about 34.3, and then a move up to about 40K. Again, not setting a lower low. Still, at this point, not setting a lower low. And the big question is, will we? But we've also seen a similar recovery in the SPX, and there's a lot of things that I want to jump into here first. Before we jump into the price, but Bitcoin's price does spike to 39K, and leading traders to say the panic is over for a few days as Bitcoin and stock markets recovered. Some losses suggests, maybe we will have a period of cooling off before any possible dumpiness or future pumpiness begins here. So obviously, over the last 48 hours, we've seen so much change with the invasion of Ukraine by Russian forces. Speaking of that, I am very clearly on the rest of the world's side, meaning I hope that Ukraine is okay and the citizens of Ukraine. But again, with that, we talked about this yesterday, low 30,000s or even mid 30,000s for Bitcoin is a level that people were crying about wanting to buy just a couple of months ago. And here we are. Now, does that mean that we will never go below those levels again? Absolutely not, especially with the current environment that we've just been thrusted into over the past 48 hours of a potential war. Okay, that is a very real potential. I'm not saying this will get a lot bigger, and I'm also saying it won't get a lot bigger. Literally nobody knows how this is going to progress, and there are just a handful of people on the planet who get to decide how it progresses, meaning the guy who invaded in the first place has infinitely more power to decide how this goes than anyone else, right? Especially any of us watching or any of us. But yeah, Bitcoin now in the blue value zone according to Bentoshi here. Not exactly the path I'd hope to get here, but I think in time this will have been a great buy area. And so yes, this is this blue area he's talking about here. And yeah, pretty much between 30 and like 34,000 US dollars. And with that being said, again, it's very likely that we've seen some initial panic being over. Uncertainty was the highest, as and it's still pretty uncertain right now, but usually markets do dip and respond the most at the beginning of something like this. Even though we haven't really seen a big war since Bitcoin has been, since it's existed. And this, again, we don't know this, and this is just wild speculation, but there is a chance that this could turn into a much bigger war. And if that were the case, how would everything respond? Well, so far we already are seeing Bitcoin do something very important here. So, for example, over $4 million in cryptocurrency was funneled to the Ukrainian military since Russia invaded. Donations are being sent to the Ukrainian army in crypto, like Bitcoin, in the millions of dollars, according to blockchain analytics firm Elliptic here. Okay, and so this is good. Bitcoin is not good or bad. It's kind of neutral, but in the past it's been framed as bad with things such as like the Silk Road and drugs. But yeah, especially governments want to demonize it. But in this case, it is helping the good guy here. Now, is this also potentially going to help Russia with all the sanctions against them? Is cryptocurrency going to be a new means of receiving funding? Absolutely. But it goes both ways. And that's why I say bad guys are going to use it and good guys are going to use it too. But that's what everything does. That's what every technology does. That's what every advancement does. Good people use the internet. Bad people use the internet, right? Good people use guns and bad people use guns. The gun isn't bad. The internet isn't bad. But depending on who's using it, is what determines if it's being used in a good or bad way. So again, you're going to probably see the media come out and say, well, Bitcoin's letting Russia get funding even though we have sanctions. This is horrible. And they will try to demonize Bitcoin, which I think they already have started doing that probably. But use your brain. That's a silly baby take. And Bitcoin is not the issue here. In fact, Bitcoin is solving the issues. Yeah, I just wanted to say that because that's probably going to be something that people are going to talk about. But also, China will sentence over 10 years in prison for crypto traders here. Absolutely bananas. And this is exactly why we need Bitcoin. Okay, they're so scared of Bitcoin that they want to threaten you and cause massive fear in you so you don't use it because there's nothing else they can do here. Okay, so yeah, for the first time in China's history, the Supreme Court labeled crypto trading as a method of illegal fundraising. Okay, and what's funny too is China and Russia are like the two biggest allies of each other, and Russia is like pro-crypto and they're benefiting from this maybe, and they potentially could continue to benefit from this in terms of receiving funding. Yet China, one of their best buddies, their best friends, saying that it's illegal fundraising. So I feel like nobody really knows what they're talking about. So many mixed signals here. Nobody's on the same page. But yeah, I mean, China's always been on the wrong side of basically everything, right? China's been wrong about, I mean, they're just completely anti-freedom. And so Bitcoin gives a little bit more freedom in your pocket. And of course, China wouldn't like that. Really no surprise there. But yeah, with Bitcoin, the 34,000 being the bottom, data says it's still too early to tell, as traders believe, maybe it is. But again, there's a huge correlation with Bitcoin and traditional markets, with the equities markets. And again, so this will continue. We saw the SPX bounce and Bitcoin bounce as well. Bitcoin futures traders are moderately bearish, however. And yeah, I mean, looking at this, it could very easily be the downside. But I mean, it really just sums it up. All of the uncertainty, we don't know. Maybe Russia could attack. I mean, they probably will attack something else by tomorrow or something, right? What if they took out the Ukrainian president? That would be a pretty traumatizing thing. Would that force NATO to? Again, there's a million different scenarios and things that could happen. As I'm sure many of you know, not many people were expecting this so quickly. In fact, most of the people in my comments, okay, some of you watching this, most of you were saying, no, this is just a bluff. And I, for the most part, agreed too. I'm not saying I was right, but I'm saying that, at least from all of you in the comments, you pretty much all said the same thing, meaning, yeah, there's no way this is going to escalate into anything. It's all bluffing. The intel that the U.S. has is just baloney. They're trying to scare us. It's the media scaring us. And again, I agreed. I didn't think that it would escalate this quickly either. So I guess we can just say that I was wrong, and literally everybody that left a comment on my video was wrong as well, because I didn't see anyone say that this was going to escalate extremely quickly. The point is, it escalated extremely quickly, and it still could continue to escalate extremely quickly and do things that none of us would expect, right? So again, that's not out of the cards, and that is that massive uncertainty at this point that is driving all markets. If, for example, this would happen, let's say that somehow everything dwindled down, and over the next few days, the conflict just de-escalated. Bitcoin, in my opinion, would have nowhere to go but up. Another positive of this, though, is that if the U.S., and again, the last thing anyone wants is war, but we have seen war as an excuse to keep the money printer on. And what does that mean? Money printer being on means Bitcoin go up. Basically what that means. So again, there are a million different scenarios here, and there's literally no way to predict it. It would be silly to sit here and look at a chart and say, well, it looks like the RSI is a little oversold. Must be time to go up. We can use those tools a lot of the time, but if there's any a time where TA doesn't really matter, it's on the brink of a potential world war. 1000%. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn on those ghost notifications, absolute time-sensitive alerts, turn on those ghost notifications, and as well, I have one Twitter, one Instagram below, and the rest are all fake accounts. If you don't see it in my comments, if you don't see it in my description, then it's not my account. My only accounts are in that description. I don't have a backup account, which is what the scammers will say to you. They'll say, this is his backup account. No, it's not. I don't have a backup account. Without any further ado, it's for me. Baby.